thank you for joining us today on the Broskiedoodles. My name is Kiko Cervantes, always here with you. Today I have a small announcement. As you all know, Stevie D, who's always been your co-host since we started, won't be joining us anymore for personal reasons. It is a sad news for me as well. But just know, me and Steven are super cool. We're friends, so we might have him in the future as a guest. He's always welcome, and he'll always be a Broskiedoodle at heart. But just wanted to let you know in case any of you wonder why Stevie D wasn't here. We do have someone here with me today, though, and it's my great friend, Luis. And besides being a great friend of mine, he's a really good musician. And he was always a great talk, and I decided to bring him on to talk about some things that we've been thinking about lately regarding series that we've seen, stand-up comedy, movies, and just what we think about those topics in the recent times. So thank you, Liz, for joining us today.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. I think we always have like nice talks like every time we get together, and actually some conversations we should have recorded when they happen.
I was just thinking that we probably already had many podcasts that we should have recorded because we've had really nice conversations.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today?
Well, one thing I was talking to you recently about that sort of brought up this whole thing is I was watching a movie on Netflix, right? And it's one of these new movies Adam Sandler is coming out with. He has like some multi-million contract with Netflix, so he comes out with like a movie every year, And
a great movie, movie every year.
And let me start off, because I don't want people getting the wrong impression. Let me start off. I've always liked Adam Sandler. Like from the beginning, back in the day, 20 years ago, that was my guy. But in the more recent times, things have been changing. And with the Netflix movies, man, some of them just keep looking more, in my feeling, just more plastic and tacky. And this last one, I don't remember the name. It's like Halloween Hubie or something like that. And it has to do, it's like a Halloween movie, so it came out perfect for October 31st. It just came out like a week ago. And it's a typical Adam. Did you watch it?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, so
I'll let you finish. First.
When I watched it, I knew what it was gonna be, but it was one of those nights where I was just tired of me and my girlfriend looking for shit to watch, and I was just like, let's just watch this. I know she's gonna like it and like find it laugh and heartwarming, and I'm like, all right, and I can tolerate it. It's one of those movies that you can tolerate, but it's a typical character with Adam Sandler. It's like the dumbass of the neighborhood, right? Everybody fucks with him. He's an idiot, right? But he's like good-hearted, and then things, eventually, happen where he's like a hero, and then the hottest girl in the neighborhood is with him because of his heart. And it's like, okay, it's cute, it's heartwarming, but it's just, I don't know if you feel this way, but with these movies that Sandler has been coming out in the past years, it's always like this repeated comedy technique or formula where it's always like this tacky, funny scenes that for some reason I just don't find funny, or maybe not funny anymore. I don't know if in the past, I don't know what you think about those movies recently.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm not sure if he's like aiming for like a more international humor, I guess, because before it is true. Like back in the day, Adam Sandler, he was not like a huge hit, but I mean, I could watch some movies of him. But the thing is, like, I remember watching one of his movies, and then someone told me, "Hey, did you know that he like actually has like a singing career?" I'm not sure if you knew this, but he has like a singing career. And then if you listen to his albums, it's just more of the same thing that you will watch in a movie. It's just like the same stuff. Like, I don't like Courtney. Like, he has like this song I can't remember, like about trimming his bush. And it's like It's a big secret because he trimmed his bush and blah blah blah, and don't tell my parents. And it's just like, I don't know. It's just like the type of humor that he has. It's just not. It's not for me. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's like you said. Like if I'm sitting down, I'm just chilling in my living room, and I don't have anything to watch. I could play one of his movies in the background just to to kind of have something playing on the background, but if I don't know, I wouldn't. I'm not sure if I would sit down and actually watch a movie from him anymore. I think the last one I remember watching from him, it was I think was it with can I, Drew Barrymore, was it?
Oh, 50 First Dates?
50 First Dates, yeah, that one. And then if I'm not sure you have what you have seen the Halloween one, but does he still have like the same crew? Like
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
how
He
it's
does.
like the same people that he like
Same
he's
people.
always in this. Jeez. See, so I don't know. It's just like it's like the same character on every single
The
movie.
thing
He's
is,
like
I
playing
don't
the same-
mind that because, I'll get on that right now. But do you think this was always the case, or like, did you always feel like this with Adam Sandler movies, or do you think this is more of like a recent thing? Like, did you like him? Did you like him before?
Yeah, I liked him before, but I think it's because it was like it wasn't as constant. You know, he didn't do it as much as now. Like for example, if you get one, two, three movies, and then okay, so that's cool. He's probably trying to help people out to get out there in the business, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you release 12, 13, 15 movies with the same exact crew doing the same exact thing, I mean they're making money. That's fine.
Yeah.
But it's just the same thing. Like I don't want to get off topic yet, but like for example, if you watch Jim Carrey's movies, for example, he has like his particular way of making comedy, making faces and all this and that, and you watch all these movies, and it's all the same, like the same type of comedy, I guess. But
Do you feel
I
like
don't know.
that in a way as well about Jim Carrey?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. It's just like if you remember watching The Mask, for example, and everything was exaggerated, like because obviously he had the mask on.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you watch Liar Liar, and then it's just the same thing but without the mask. You know what I mean? It's just like,
it is true.
so
It is true, and not to knock on Jim Carrey, but I kind of have the same way of thinking of that part. Yeah, I recently watched or rewatched that movie Ace Ventura,
yeah,
and on that movie it is really exaggerated, like everything just. And it I don't know. Like I said, at the end of the day, it's just our opinion. But with Jim Carrey, I did like his
Yeah.
movie, Bruce Almighty.
yeah. Bruce Almighty was nice.
That was a really
The first
good
one.
movie. Yeah, the first one. And it was like had a nice message. There's a few of Carrey that I could fuck with, but in general, I do get annoyed at that repetitiveness, and Adam Sandler does that. Now,
Yeah.
let me give you an example where it's not always the case where like having the same crew is a bad thing. Like I've always liked the crew of Seth Rogen and Judd Apatow and that crew.
Yeah.
James Franco.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
and to be honest, Seth Rogen and that crew, they've been making series and shows since like the late '90s. It's just they blew up later, but they did some series like Freaks and Geeks, where they didn't really make it big, but they were funny and shit. So, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that I like that crew, and they use the same characters, but I just think they try to reinvent themselves each time, and I think that's the problem. And Sandler used to kill it in movies. I used to love his movies. Like one of my favorite movies is Big Daddy. I don't
Big
know
Daddy.
if you ever
Yeah,
watched
of
it.
course.
That was that's
course,
a
yeah,
great
yeah, yeah.
movie.
That was a great movie.
And it has
was.
all those characters, all those people that he uses, but for some reason it just worked. It clicked. And then you see this movie that I'm talking to you about now, and it's the same characters, and you're like, yo, what the fuck happened here? Like, did you guys decided to not write anything funny anymore? And it's just a typical like falls and like, like even that movie Grown Ups, where you had
Yeah. Well,
Chris Rock and all these big stars. I mean, it's watchable, but like the second one and third, I don't know if they made it was just like it's so corny. Like I just found it to be so. I don't know. I guess the term family comedy, but it's not even that because there's family comedy that is really good. And
yeah.
but in any case, yeah,
Yeah. Well, the thing is that, like, I think when you get too repetitive, we're not with the concept of the movie itself, because obviously the scripts are different on each movie. But it's just like you said, for example, on every single Adam Sandler's movie, he falls, and that's a that's apparently supposed to be funny to 99% of the people who obviously watch the movie. But then, for example, like my sister back in the day, she's 24 years old right now. But back in the day, she used to like not think Adam Sandler was a god, you know. But I mean, that was the type of movie that I guess she was allowed to watch back in the day when she was 14, 15 years old, I guess. But the thing is that once again, you watch those type of movies now. There's some funny movies that you will watch right now that you watched back in the day and you still think that they're funny. For example, I would go with American Pie, for example. American Pie, it has a different type of humor than what Grown Ups, 51st States, etc. has. But then each movie is just a bit different, although all of them are about this, about the same thing. But the type of comedy that they present to the audience, I think it's just like it just has carried on over time. So like if you watch it right now, you still think, oh man, I remember when I watched this the first time, and it wasn't as big as you would think. I mean, American Pie was a big thing, but I think it's an underrated like.
No, yeah, it was really good. And actually, I recently saw some post about. You remember that chick? And I mean, I gotta say it. She wasn't, still is, but she was just so fine. The chick of the famous scene, which actually by today's standard, pretty much would get you canceled. Where like he's recording the girl while they have sex without her knowing. And he's a fine girl, and she's like a French actor who wasn't famous at all. She got that part kind of like an extra.
Yeah.
And after that, dude, she blew up. She's still making money, and like her career still, like she's still known and like banking out of that thing. But just to let you, one thing to tell you about these movies in the past is that it was like a different bar for standards. That scene, he's literally having like a bunch of friends like have like a stream of his camera, and he's gonna have sex with this chick. At the end, I think it doesn't happen, or she finds. I don't know. I don't remember what was a joke on it, but you couldn't do that now. I mean, maybe that's not the topic, but I just remember that part. But yeah, they were great movies. They were great movies, and they age well. They're still good. Another one of that sort of class would be like Old School. Have you ever saw that movie?
I did. Yeah, that's also
one of my favorite movies. I watch that movie every 3 months just to like. Stay chained to reality. Like that's just
right,
man. That's my fucking movie. And those movies, they don't have these crazy effects. They don't have all this big budget or whatever. It's just good dialogue. That's what it is. It's just good, funny dialogue. And I feel like, but in general, right? Wouldn't you say today movies, especially when you talk about like the superhero movies, right? It's all about big budget explosion, and then there's not even a story,
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because like, for example, I was gonna mention before we go into Marvel's comedy, I guess. I think we have discussed this, but like the movie Euro Trip, that's my favorite one.
Wow.
Because Euro Trip was like, I don't know. I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, man, how did they come up with this idea of? It's just like everything's just like, like I don't even know how to explain it.
No. I know what you're feeling, because I feel the same. I don't remember exactly where I was, but I still watch that movie every 6 months just to again stay in reality. But dude, I remember the time that I watched it. I remember where I was, but I couldn't stop laughing, and I was just like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is so good, bro. Like. Scotty doesn't know. Scotty doesn't.
even the part even the part where I can't remember the name of the actor. I don't think I ever knew it, but when he's fighting the mime, whatever, the robot. Like that's like if you look at it, like if a teenager watched that movie right now, they would say, nah, that's fucking stupid. That's like a stupid scene. But I remember watching it back in the day. Once again, being a movie that doesn't have this big budget or big actors, whatever, it was a nice movie, and it has also aged well. I mean, I still remember the other guy that went to the where was he that he had this long ass safety word, so because he was
So, Vandersex. He went to club Vandersex. And then they're like, the safe word is like snake sneaks.
It's like this long ass word. Yeah. So
that shit was so funny, bro. No, that movie is so good, man. You know what movie I recently watched and I was like, wow, this is so hilarious. And it's around the same time, same type of movie. It's called Not Another Teen Movie.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That's like an early 2000s movie.
Yeah. Almost the same as Eurotrip. Maybe Eurotrip is a little newer. But dude, you know what I realized about this movie? Yo, some of that comedy in it, I mean, for me, perfectly fine. I don't give a fuck. Nothing offends me. It's actually super funny. But today's, they couldn't make that movie. One of the guys, I don't know if you remember, like the three, she had like a brother and they were like the freshmen. He used to like have like a little ninja thing and then put his eyes like this, and he was like the Chinese of the thing, and he wasn't Chinese like at all. And he has shit like that, like, you know, all across the movie, man. And he was so fucking good because he made fun of like the typical teenage movie, right? Where like there's this chick that's like the nerd, and then but something happens, and then she ends up with like the jock of the high school, right? Like the badass kid. The popular one, but she was never like, I guess you could say nerdy, but she was always fine as fuck. Like it was always like some model, right?
Yeah.
But then they put some glasses and like a ponytail, and it's like, oh no, she's disgusting. But then she takes it off, and everybody's like, so there's a scene in the movie where he takes like his sister to make up this girl, right? Like to make her pretty, right?
Right.
And they have this music like ta-na, like ta-na-na. And like she takes off the hair, takes off the glasses, and she's like, my work here is done. And now she looks like a fucking model, right? And so it's like, it's sort of making fun of those movies. But they were great, man, and they aged well. Not the same as today, man. I watch so many shit movies on a constant basis.
Yeah. And I mean, I have to admit, because I know you're not, but I have to admit that I do like the sequence that that Marvel has taken to, you know, build or whatever their
universe.
Their universe. But and you know, they have somewhat, you know, funny comedy, I guess, funny comments. You know, they're not meant to be a hilarious franchise or whatever. They're, you know, more aimed to, you know, to be an action movie or whatever. But I think since it worked for them on, I think was Iron Man the first time they did that, they actually tried, you know, having a little bit of comedy within the movie, and it worked for them, and they just added more and more and more. And then you watch the latest, like the last movie by Marvel, and it's just, you know, I'm not gonna say it's hilarious or even funny, but it's just joke after joke after joke after pun. It's like, you know, it's just, you know, how did we get to that from being, you know, an actions.
So like from somebody like you that likes this franchise, you find that it took the whole comedy too far?
I think so, yeah, because if you watch, for example, DC, I was a fan of DC until fucking Batman defeated Superman, which to me it's ridiculous, but well, whatever. But I think if you watch the Batman movies, you know, they actually, like, the setting that they have is just, you know, all, or like what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you're serious and, you know, all like like all in the shade and all like suspenseful and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have, you know, you have Superman, which is more of the same, more action, blah blah blah, and then you have Aquaman, which is, you know, also more action, blah blah blah, and then they have a little bit of comedy, but not too much, just enough to maybe break tension at some points, you know. But then on Marvel, when you have, I'm not sure if you have seen all of their movies, probably not, but like there are some movies where like all of the superheroes are together, and just like Hulk uh, tells a joke, then right away Spider-Man tells a joke, and then right away Captain America says another joke. It's just like come on, just get on with it. It's
Okay,
like
so
go ahead and fight.
I'm getting a bit of a feeling here that you're a DC guy.
No. I'm a Marvel guy. I'm
Oh.
not. I used to be a DC guy because I do like the Batman movies, but then like if even
But
within a superhero.
aren't you saying that they stay a bit more serious?
Yeah, but the thing is that just within a superhero context, just imagine, like, for example, I know, apparently this, that people's not, they're not supposed to exist because they have superpowers and blah blah blah. But then you have someone like Batman. They're trying to make it as real as possible because all he has is a lot of money. He doesn't have any superpowers. But then he fights Superman, and then Superman's like this badass dude that
Right.
if he like can choke
So
God
like
and kill
now,
him.
before that movie was made, I mean, I would assume in the comics they did it, but were they ever in the same universe? Were they, you know what I mean, or was it different?
I thought they were not, but yes, if you're like a hardcore like comics reader or whatever, I guess at some point Batman did actually defeat Superman. I guess.
Okay, so they were in the same universe. Because this is my thing. I'm
were.
with you here. Like, come on. Like, I would think it made more sense. Like, if you have a Batman exists in a universe where no superheroes exist, and he is just a badass guy with money, and he helps with crime, right? Because that's what it's been like. Even his villains, unless I'm mistaken, on the movies at least. I'm not a comic guy, so I don't know about the comics. So I do apologize for the comic guys if we're fucking this up. But in the movies, all the villains, they're not superhero guys. They're just, they have either some chemical or and I kind of like that because it makes it feel like it's the real world, right? So
exactly like it could actually happen.
Right, right. The Joker, right? He's just a fucking crazy guy that blows up shit. He's like a terrorist, pretty much, with a mask and shit. So and then the guy from the Bane, he just has like some some technology as well. He's like a Batman,
Exactly.
but it's funded by other people. But in any case, and then he goes against Superman, who Superman shouldn't even be in the same universe as anyone else because technically speaking, he will fuck everybody up, right? I mean, I remember in a movie he went and fucking turned time around by going around the Earth. So then, what the fuck are you talking about? This guy is God, and then you're telling me Batman because he has bank and he has the penthouse at the Trump Tower in New York. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, he happened to have some savings so he could defeat Superman. Yeah. Just get the fuck away from here, man. He's like, so that's what I'm saying. So like, if I know those, technically speaking, those movies are supposed to be all like, I guess, bullshit in the sense of like what is real and what is not, because yes, we're getting whatever invaded from other worlds and blah 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 blah. But then you have this rich guy just kicking this god's ass all around New York or Gotham, whatever, and it's like then from that point I stopped watching DC movies. It's because I know that's how the story is supposed to go because that's apparently what the comics what happens in the comics. But then as a viewer of if you're gonna BS me with all this superhero stuff, just at least have some like just make it make sense within the story.
Right.
But oh well, I mean that's not for me to decide. I guess.
Is X-Men Marvel?
Yeah.
I used to be into superhero movies, and sometimes it's hard to know if I'm biased because I was younger and thus, but I like to think not, because I like to think that if it's good, then any audience will enjoy it. But I remember a certain way I felt when the first X-Men movies came out, and to me they were really good movies.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, I think the director was Bryan Singer.
I think so.
He's like a really good. I think he does Transformers or some shit like that. But I don't know, maybe not. But the movies were really good. The first X Men up to like the third, it was like. And I'm not saying the rest weren't, but I'm just saying after that I kind of got lost. But the first three were so good, you know.
Yeah, and you do even get lost even like if you do some research online and just try to like watch the movies like chronologically, it just doesn't make sense. It's just like one, two, three, and then two and a half, and then minus four, and then seven.
Yeah.
It's just like
if you thought Star Wars saga was complicated, this guy's you need a fucking algorithmic formula. Yeah.
Yeah, and then apparently you have like two ways of watching it. Like there are two like acceptable
methods
ways of watching it. Like if you watch it like in the same way that they were released.
But what are you talking about? X-Men?
X-Men, yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of like the same situation with Star Wars, because I think Star Wars also has two ways that you can watch it.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. I knew X-Men, didn't know. I mean, what is it? Star Wars now? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then.
No. In Star Wars, if I'm not mistaken, they came out like 3, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and then 7, 8, 9.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the way they were released. But I think, they like didn't they have like, one that like there's like this new Jedi girl, whatever. After.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like with those? If those now go even before? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do know that with the first 9, I guess the main ones, first, right? They do say if you never watched it, like me, to watch it. It's hard to say the order that it's supposed to be, because maybe the order is supposed to be is the order that they released them, but in the chronological order. So you watch some of the new ones, then the old ones, and then some of the new ones, but you watch it from 1 to 9.
Yeah.
But then I've got them, and then I never watched them because I'm just like, fuck, man, I gotta commit to it, you know. And I don't know. I think with this type of movie, sometimes people like blow them up too much, but yeah. So what was the situation with the X-Men? It also has some.
Yeah. So X-Men is so I cannot remember the title right now. Like, but it's just 1, 2, 3, and then I think it goes back to when Professor X was like a student.
Yeah, and then, I remember that one.
Yeah, and then the next one is when like the travel and the to the past, and actually it's Wolverine who travels to the past because he's the only one who's able to take that, that hit, I guess. Yeah. So those movies are good. I actually liked all of them, even including Logan, which is I think the last one that they released, because even the actors are really good.
Yeah,
in all of the movies.
I haven't disliked any of them. I just feel like what I was trying to say is that after that, in general, superhero movies started getting weird, because even the first Spider-Mans were really good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't even know. I would like to. I guess I have to do some research on what actually happened with Spider-Man, because you remember there used to be a first Spider-Man which I liked. I think was
Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, and then they did the Amazing Spider-Man, which
with the little kid, right?
No, this was this other dude.
Oh no, yeah, it was that guy from that was in the Facebook movie.
Exactly. Yeah. And then they have the new one, which I like, the new kid, whatever. I mean, I think the character suits him more because apparently Spider-Man is supposed to be a teenager, actually. But I think the best ones are the first three, the very first three that they released.
And obviously we might be biased because we were at a certain age when they came out, and those were the first ones. But I just think those were great movies, like and like the optics of it felt so much like what you thought the comics would be,
Exactly.
Although I gotta say, the new ones, the technology makes it so much. It gives it another thing, right? Like the technology on the new one, and the little kid is super good.
Yeah, no, he's a really good actor, I think, and I mean, I don't see him winning an Oscar ever, because of the type of actor he is. Not saying he's a bad one, but I always think that I don't know. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never seen an actor winning an Oscar for a comedy movie.
For like
has it?
I
don't think so.
I wouldn't. I can't remember. I can't remember right now. But no, but dude, that kid did a movie recently that I watched on
Mm.
Netflix, and it's like,
Tom Holland is his name.
yeah, Tom
Tom
Holland.
Holland.
He did a movie on
Yeah.
Netflix. Let me tell you real quick what it is because and I was like, oh no, this kid. I mean, yeah, for Spider Man, he's not gonna get like Oscars, but no, but this kid is like an actor of that caliber. It's called The Devil All the Time.
Oh yes, I think I've seen the preview, the
And
trailer.
yeah, with
Mm.
Robert Pattinson,
Yeah.
dude. Like I'm very heavy on as a critic with movies. I mean, not
Mm.
because I know, I try to make it look like I fucking think I'm this or that. But I'm just saying, like, I do criticize him a lot. That's something I do. So, but
Right. Right.
this movie, bro, I really enjoyed it. Cause, dude, like it's becoming normal where I just put a movie and I was like, all right, let's see, it's probably gonna suck, and then most of the time it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this one surprised me. It was so good, and it has this. It's like it's sort of like made maybe supposed to be set like 70 years ago, in like little
Yeah.
towns of the U.S.
Right.
and man, really
Good
good,
one.
bro. Really good. It's
I
like
gotta.
a drama, but with like mystery, murder, and like eerie feeling when it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
dude, it's really nice. And that kid, I was like, oh no, this kid is not just like, oh yeah, I'm Spider Man, whatever. No, this kid he can really act. I'm pretty sure he could definitely win an Oscar, but with those type of movies, like with like not
Exactly.
Spider
Yeah.
Man.
More. Exactly. Would you say what would you say what was the last movie you have seen for the first time that you have like that has actually impacted you like in the movie theater? I'm not sure if you go a lot to the movie theaters. Of course, nowadays with all this shit that's happening, no one's going. But let's talk 2019 before 2019. Do you remember any specific movie that you have watched and you have said, "Well, like everyone has to watch this fucking movie"?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I can probably tell you movies that I also watched at home because I don't go to the movies a lot.
uh,
But one movie that and if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the last movie I've seen in a theater because then all this shit happened.
mm,
But it was The Joker, and The Joker with Joaquin Phoenix.
yeah,
And dude, I went into the movie, and I don't remember if it was that I didn't even. I don't remember if it was that we didn't think we were gonna watch the movie because I went with my family, right? And my family's friends, like the dad, mom, they were visiting from
right,
from another country, and I was just like, "Oh, this one is available." I was like, "It's been out for a bit. I haven't watched it. Let's watch it." And then when that shit started, I was like, "Oh fuck, this is like really dark," you know?
yeah,
Yeah. And my family was just like, "Yo, what the fuck?"
yeah. It's not your
and-
typical Sunday evening movie, right?
yeah, bro. For them, I'm pretty sure it wasn't too cool of a situation. But dude, I fucking focused on that movie and went in it and like the mental part of it, the psychotic part of it. And I don't want to sound like the norm, but because I know that people do say the movie was good, but I really thought it was a great movie.
Yeah, it was.
I think that they took. You know what it was? Why it was such a good movie and why it's so hard to do what they did? Because I find that it is hard for you to be able to do a take on the Joker that is good in its own sense and doesn't get compared to Heath Ledger's.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and it
that's
achieved
how.
just that.
Yeah, you're right because everyone had to, everyone had was tried to compare this Joker to Ledger's and I mean it's just completely different one and both were like excellent. I mean both of them were just same character to different actors, different approaches, and I think the Joker, the movie was a really, really, really good movie. And actually, I remember when I saw it, I remember walking out of the movie theater and was like, "Damn, this actually like took me by surprise. Like I wasn't expecting that movie to be as good as it was. And not it didn't have any special, people flying or people dying or whatever. Just well, it did have people dying, but I mean, it wasn't like any like CGI, or it didn't look like it had too much CGI. And then you have like the whole psychology, like the whole transformation that the Joker has from the moment, like from the first time you see the actual character in the screen on the screen, and then when he just like goes like berserk and just it's like fuck the world, I'm the owner of this shit, and whoever tries to get against me, I have an army behind me that's gonna fuck you up, and it's like you wouldn't of course you would expect that because you know the Joker from Batman, but I think from someone, and I don't think there's like a human being that has never heard of the Joker, but I will assume that someone that has never heard of the Joker and watched that movie, that particular movie, you wouldn't expect that outcome from all the shit that he went through at the beginning of the movie, and then how he like overcomes that, and he's just like a total badass after, because you feel he's a bad guy, and you even feel like empathy for him. You even feel sorry for him. And that's how good of a performance the actor actually did. Well, Joaquin Phoenix, I mean, he's just a badass.
Yeah. You know what I thought? One thing I thought of it is that even though it was a superhero movie, it was crazy that when he's in that scene where he's in the apartment, and then someone comes in, and then he starts killing him with like a knife or some shit, or like. And he's so like brutal, and you like nothing about it seemed like a superhero movie, like at all. You know what I mean?
No. It's just like a drama movie.
Yeah, like a fucking sick, and you're like, oh shit. And I think the smart thing about this, besides another point that I'm gonna mention, is that they took a whole different outlook of it. Instead of, because when you watch Batman or whatever, it's like you always feel like this, even though they're great, there's this superhero feeling to it, which Chris Nolan, the director of the first Batman movies, or the first recent Batman movies with Christian Bale, sort of tried to not erase, but to try to get over, right? Like when he went to some hills with the Asians and some with the monks, and like that all made it feel like it was a real thing, and that helped. But it's still a superhero movie. With this one, if you didn't know about Batman or anything, it didn't matter. Like, this was a movie on its own about some sick motherfucker. And it almost feels like when you saw the Heath Ledger's Joker, you only saw sort of the outside of him, right? And it's kind of like when you play Mario Bros. And you start using Yoshi, the little jump guy.
Yeah.
You go around the whole game, and of Yoshi that he jumps, that's it. That's that first movie. But then when you watch this Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, it's like playing the Yoshi game. It's like we're gonna now take you inside this guy's brain and his story. It's not just like in the first one where he comes out every once in a while, blows up, says some really powerful sentences that keep you thinking like, yo, what the fuck? And then he's out. No, now we're gonna show you his day-to-day, every minute, how he goes insane. And I think that helped make it what it was, because you couldn't try to repeat what Ledger did. You had to do what Ledger did, or take inspiration from that, but then take it either deeper or on a different angle that would complement what was already done. And that's why I thought it was great.
Yeah. I think I see Ledger's character or performance as like, like the city, and then Joaquin Phoenix was given a car. It's like, okay, so you have to drive. You have to take these people, or your family, from this point to that city. You're not gonna be quite like that guy. You're not gonna go as crazy, because he never really goes as crazy as the Joker was under Ledger's performance. But but the guy took it there. Like you can actually feel a connection between both, because even I think that I'm not sure when exactly the Joker took place. I think in the 80s or something like that, and then the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, like chronologically speaking, and then of course, Ledger's characters more 2010s or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you can actually feel the connection between one and the other and how they the character progressed. I think that, I mean, I see it. I see it's gonna be very tough for another Joker to come through.
Isn't it
Yeah.
funny how the Joker is one of those it's one of those characters that every actor who goes about it is like it's a thing, you know? Like, I don't know if you know about this, but the when Heath Ledger died, I don't know if it was even you that told me this at one point, but I know of this thing that happened where Heath Ledger died, and then a reporter was like saw not Sean Connery, the guy from The Shining, Jack Nicholson,
Nicholson.
because
Yeah.
Nicholson did a Joker too. So they asked
Yeah.
him like, "Hey, Heath Ledger passed. Well, you know, like, what are your words and shit? Something like that." And he
Yeah.
was like the first thing he said, they say, was like, "Oh man, I told him not to do that role."
It will go crazy.
No, but like he said that for real.
Damn.
Like, no, he was like, "Fuck, I told him not to do that." Like, apparently this role takes people. I mean, with Joaquin Phoenix, it kind of took him there too, and Joaquin Phoenix was darker.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, he was
grittier,
definitely darker.
you know. So, but I mean, I think also because the other Batman has to be a bit more PG-13ish.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they cannot make it much darker than what it has been in the past, because I mean, Batman has been going on for years, and pretty much every like huge actor that we know has done Batman, and of course the Joker now. But yeah, I think that's what I meant before by, like, you have these characters that are actually human beings with problems, and then Joker has been given shit, Batman shit, like for ages, and then sometimes he wins, sometimes he loses, and then Batman kicks Superman's ass. Like, it affected me a lot. That's why I'm mentioning it again. I couldn't get over that. Anyway, but yeah. Anyway, so talking more about impacting movies, I was gonna mention before. I'm not sure if you have seen it, but one that impacted me a lot, and it's just because of the concept, and it's just because of what happened. I never saw it coming, and I did watch it with my wife, and she's really good at guessing what's going to happen, who's the killer, whatever. Like, she didn't see anything, anything suspicious or anything like that. Fuck, I forgot the name. This South Korean movie. I just had it at the tip of my tongue.
Parasite.
Parasite. Yeah.
Parasite.
That movie, man, was really, really, and it's not to underestimate, like foreign or Asian movie makers, whatever. But that movie, it's like Hollywood material, It's it's really good. The everything that the just the way how, like, it showed, like, the difference between very rich and high class people versus like low class, how they do everything just to get through, to make money.
Yeah.
And if they're like really struggling, they don't give a fuck what they do. It's not the case with everyone, but I would see that happening with some people that well, it not changing too much the topic, but even like I'm rewatching Breaking Bad right now with my wife, and just looking at everything that drugs and meth does to you, like hardcore, like methamphetamine and cocaine and all that shit. It's like it's just crazy. But anyway,
No, but on that what was the show that you were saying before, the Parasite movie? Yeah. that it even had this like weird dark humor to it that was not, it's like this. It was a weird movie. I'll be honest with you. At the ending, maybe I have to rewatch it because to me I was like, what? And it was just something like some guy at the bottom came. So maybe I have to rewatch it. But the scenography, the way that it looked, it was so well made. And you know what it reminded me of? Like the disparity between the families. It's very similar to what you see like in Venezuela, you know? So like you could, like the people that lived in the big ass house could be like in the hills of Caracas, and then the people that go work there come from like the slums, and that's so I guess
That
it was
happens.
relatable in that sense because it was a third world situation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Well,
and everything shitty that could happen happened to them. It's like there was this like big rain or this storm, whatever, and it like, all their house was floated, and everything was just disgusting. How like they, like they ate in just this little table, and it's just like shit, man. That actually happens. That shit happens,
Yeah.
and I think I don't know. I think that's one of the reasons why it impacted me so much, and obviously not being in like the typical Hollywood movie that that we're used to, being in the market that we're in. Because if yeah, I've heard I know people that are like really freakies of like watching like strange movies and shit, and then they watch a lot of Bollywood movies.
Uh-huh.
And even though all that we do watch from Bollywood, that we see it like as a joke, and like this guy gets out of the car going 90, and then he kills 5 people. The car's just like doing like a whatever. It's just like he kills everyone, and then the car lands, and then he's driving again. It's just like a fucking Call of Duty game.
Yeah.
And that's what we watch. But they actually have a lot of really really good movies that even I don't know if you watched Slumdog Millionaire, but because it was a
did.
big thing. It was a big thing back in the day, and I'm not sure if it was a Bollywood movie or it was a Hollywood movie. But most of the movies in Bollywood are actually good quality, and
Right.
they have good stories.
Well, the biggest YouTube. Oh, you mentioned. I think you mentioned this. You remember? I think it was because you have for people out there. Luis has a podcast that he does with some of his buddies from the orchestra. Is that the case?
Yeah. Both of them are from the orchestra.
Yeah. So Luis he's been in the Venezuelan National Orchestra. We will have a podcast where we're gonna talk a bit about that. So I don't want to get into details, but he has a podcast with some of his buddies. It's called the Portables, right?
The portables, yeah.
Los Deportables. And it's really funny. But I think there you were mentioning about social media and the biggest YouTubers, right? And the first two that have more than 100 are this company is called Something Entertainment, and then PewDiePie. And they have like 150 million, and then PewDiePie has like 110, something like that. Whatever. That YouTube channel that has 100 million or 150 million is like it's just all Bollywood, like, and they put Bollywood content. So imagine, bro, there's just so many people in that country, But
Yeah. And a fun fact about that like you would think that the Olympics or the final of the World Cup or whatever would be like the most watched sports in the world, but actually it's fucking cricket, man. That's how much people they have in in India.
They got
Like,
they got 2 billion, right?
I think so. Yeah, I will have to research, but yeah, they have a lot of people there. They have just let's see, 1.3.
Oh no, so China has 2 billion.
2 billion, and these people.
So if
have,
China decided to
1.3.
come out, and I believe they're sort of doing this by getting their hands into like Hollywood and shit. But and I mean, I was just gonna say, like, if China decided that they're gonna dictate what to watch, imagine the amount of views. But they're already doing that because Hollywood and NBA and everything is 'cause already has a lot of money, Chinese money.
Yeah, well, they have their. I mean, they can survive without Facebook and without Amazon and without they have everything's it's replaced there. So, and the people that actually own those companies are millionaires anyway. So like this, I'm not gonna get into detail, but this guy that owns Alibaba, whatever. That's like that's Amazon's competition.
Yeah,
He,
and they're getting better and better at like the fast delivery system. So
yeah, exactly. Well, AliExpress, for example.
yeah, but you know how AliExpress, it's still like it takes a bit too long.
Yeah.
That's gonna become like even easier very soon. So I'm excited for that. I think technology is gonna bring good things. One thing that you could say, I guess a silver lining from the whole pandemic thing, is that companies that already were gonna need to make their processes be remote and be quicker and be more efficient, they were gonna need to do this anyways. But these sped it up. Yeah. Just like working from home became now like, oh, okay, yeah, we could do this and it's fine. Yeah, we got there quicker because we needed it for survival. So I think those are some of the silver linings. One thing I wanted to talk to you about here on the last segment, and I know that you're also like a comedy fan, specifically like I'm talking about stand-up comedy, and we talk about this a lot. Is there any specials that you've seen recently that you've liked?
Yeah, well, I did watch the one by Kevin Hart that they have on Netflix. I recently, the thing is that with stand-up comedy, I was watching a YouTube video the other day, and I was curious about if how you have like in the movies you have genres, right? You have drama, you have action, you have horror, whatever. Then you have music, you have genres in music, etc. In all type of art, you have a genre, right? In paint, architecture, whatever. The funny thing about comedy, and no pun intended, is that it's an art that has no genre, right? Like for example, you wouldn't say, "Oh, I like so and so type of comedy," right? Or of stand-up comedy, because like for example, if you compare, for example, I'm a big fan of a guy called Russell Peters.
Uh-huh.
And one of the reasons I liked him a lot is because he's really good with accents, and then his type of comedy is more a bit more like so this is how the Chinese act, this is how the Jews act, and this is how the Russians speak, and then so I guess I liked the comedians that do impressions or kind of talk about not racist, but they talk about races.
Yeah. They talk about the racial contrasts.
Exactly, between whatever how
Yeah,
blacks behave and how whites behave and blah blah blah. But anyway, Russell Peters, he used to have a lot of. I think he retired. I haven't seen any new stuff from him. It's bad, and it's a shame because I do like him a lot. But I think, and I think you and I have had this conversation before. Kevin Hart's comedy, I like it. I'm not a huge fan. It's not my favorite. But if I see a stand-up, video, a new stand-up video from him, I will definitely watch it. It's just the type of comedy that he does. It's just I find it funny. I guess it's relatable to it's not. I don't know, like Louis C.K. for example. He has like this monologue on Saturday Night Live. I'm sure you have seen it on pedophiles. It's like how can you relate to that shit? But then you listen to it and it's kind of funny, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. I find it funny.
All right. Well, I'm actually a bit more on the opposite end of that because I love comedians like Louis C.K. for example, and all that dark shit that he does. And then, but when it comes to Kevin Hart and Russell Peters, I respect their craft. They're pros. They're super successful at what they do. I could tolerate it, but it's not my type of comedy. I personally don't like that Chinese people do this, Indian people do that, black people do this, white people do that.
Right.
There's times where it's done in a funny way. There's this French guy. There's a Netflix special. He's called. I'm not gonna say his name because I can't remember, but it's this French guy. The special's called American Dream, and then he goes and does a stand up. He's like a very famous stand up in French. And then he goes to the U.S. and does one in English, and he has an accent. And dude, he kills it. And he talks about the differences, like when you come here, you know, like the type of stuff that we say, you know, like he had a funny bit that we relate to, because in Spanish this happens, right? He's like, you know, in France, when you're going to talk about an object, you say, for example, the red, el carro, the car. Carro rojo, right? So the first thing we tell you is the important thing. We're telling you what it is. You already know. In English, it's like the fast, red, huge, wide. What is it? Train? No, a plane. Like, you know. And I mean, I'm butchering, right? Like this, he does it a lot better. Like, you guys gotta watch this guy's special. It's called American Dream. And you wouldn't think like somebody that's speaking with an accent is gonna make like Americans laugh, but dude, he kills it, because he really goes and incisions the little dips and pieces of language that makes it funny. Russell Peter does that great too. I don't want to talk about anybody specifically, but I don't like it when it's easy comedy, like just easy comparisons. So
yeah.
But whatever, this guy does like really incision based. But I'm more into like the shocking shit, like, but funny, right? Like Louis C.K. couldn't be successful if he was that shocking, but not matching the funny, right? If he was just saying foul shit that wasn't landing the funniness, then, you know, like 2 days ago, I went to a stand-up comedy here in Madrid in Spanish. Maybe we should come one day. It's called Probando Material. So it's the same people from Venezuela. So, dude, it was pretty funny. And there was this guy there that did some dark jokes about, like, pedophilia and rape or some shit, right? But the funniness wasn't all the way there. So the shit just landed like a fucking... Like, everybody was just like... It's like... Damn, like, dude, I think even somebody was like, damn, bro, like, what the fuck?
You went too far.
Yeah, dude.
It's too far.
But yeah, I mean, it also shows you, like, the risk of comedy, right, and where it takes you. But I mean, Russell Peter is a beast in his own. I personally, I'm not a big fan. I remember I used to like a lot George Lopez, and he does a lot of comparison in the you know, like Latinos, you know, and
yeah.
He's dude. He was so funny. Like, he had some specials back in the day that I would just like die laughing. Did you ever listen to Dane Cook back in the day?
Oh yeah. What? Oh yeah, yes.
At that time, was it around the time you were living in the U.S.?
Yes, actually, yeah. It was 2003. I think he had a special, 2004.
Something like that.
And yes, I mean, I know he has like much older stuff, because then I went and did some research, and the guy, you know, had some funny jokes. Yes, but he does have. I mean, I like him, but he does have like what you say, easy comedy. You know, it's just things are relatable, I guess. At some point, you know, like he talks about, you know, breakups and I think he talks about.
Do you think we liked him because we were teenagers at the time, or do you think he was good at that time?
No, I think we liked it. This is because of, like, we were part of the public that he was aiming for, I guess, at the time.
Because, like, I hear a lot of comics talk shit on him, like that. Pretty much like it was unfair that he rose so big. Like those years that you were listening to him and me, apparently he was huge. He was filling arenas, and for comics that were doing it for a long time, it was like, yo, this guy's a hack. Like, this guy's just doing like whatever stuff.
Right.
But dude, I remember I had already been listening to stand up for a bit, and dude, I'm saying this for reals. Like this is how it was for me, and I consider myself to like comedy. Like that one special, like I think it's a 30-minute special on Comedy Central, where he has a black, like a wife beater. I don't know if we can call that shit
Yeah.
like that anymore, but anyways, and he looks like he's on cocaine. He has some black boots.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
I've never laughed so hard at a comedy special, and me and my cousins were just like, and I remember we had to download it, and he looked so bad, dude, man. And I just remember when he was like a fucking alien, he's just and I was just like, yo,
Yeah.
what the fuck? And
Yeah, yeah.
I gotta rewatch it, but I think I would laugh at that again. I do know that then he did do a lot of things that were very collegey, you know,
Exactly.
very like white girl collegey, you know.
Yeah.
And he would do like, you know, when you like this, you know, when you like that, you know, when you like this, you know,
Yeah.
when you like this, and you're like, yo, just get to the fucking joke. But
Exactly, yeah,
but
yeah.
he did. I think he like that one special, man. I was laughing so hard. I don't know if you watched it too.
I actually remember it. He even like opens a water, like a bottle of water and pours it on top of
He's
it.
just like,
Yeah, I'm a fucking alien or whatever. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
dude. And
Yeah,
it
yeah.
seems
It was
stupid, but
hilarious.
it was mad funny. So, but what do you think about
Yeah.
modern comedy? Was there any? You said you watched the Kevin Hart recently. I think Kevin Hart is very family oriented, like his movies.
It is.
So, I mean, I respect that. I'm not a fan, but which one did I watch recently? I watched this guy Felipe. Oh, look what this guy did. It's called Felipe Esparza.
Okay.
Is that every 30 minutes I have to re-record
Oh, okay.
because the cameras only record for 30 minutes for tax purposes. So this guy Felipe Esparza, bro, I've been watching him for a while. He does kind of like, I wouldn't say like George Lopez, but he has like an accent, but he's from California. He's like, and bro, I was there and I was smoking crack, and you know, like he has like funny ass jokes. And so he took out a special. If you're looking for anything to watch, it's mad funny. And then the special has two versions, in English and in Spanish. And he did both, like identical presentations, one in English, one
Okay.
in Spanish. I personally, I think I like him in English, you know, but I just found it that so cool that he did that. Like, I don't think anybody has done that before, you know.
That he managed to like some sort of like do some sort of translation between, because the
No,
thing
no,
is
no.
that
He spoke it.
oh, I mean, yeah, he spoke it, but I mean, like usually it's really hard to get jokes to be translated from one language to another.
And I did. I
know?
mean, I don't want to, talk shit or anything, but I did find sometimes that happened, you know. But he did his best to fit it so that he fit the Mexican, people, mostly Mexicans, and you know, he did the show in Spanish. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's not as perfect because it's not a perfect fit because of the cultural differences and all that. But I think I just thought it was really cool that he even attempted to do that, and it was pretty good. Whatever, I watched both, but I watched the one in English, which is the one that I like the most, just because that's his natural form. I think it's more like if you don't speak English, at least watch the one in Spanish. But if you speak English,
Right.
watch the original one, I guess. But dude, he's really funny, man. He talks about the shit that he's done, and he's very like unapologetic, you know, and you know.
Well, it's funny because I'm not sure if you have done it, but you know how like sometimes I'm a big YouTube user. Like I spend so much time on YouTube. I don't spend time. I waste time on fucking YouTube. And then, so you know how like you sometimes get down to these rabbit holes on YouTube, and you just like end up watching like this weird ass like YouTube videos, whatever. And I tried to find comedians that their English is not like their native language, but they do stand up in English.
Okay.
And I don't have the names right now, but I did come across a Chinese guy who his parents are Chinese, but he was born in the United States, his comedy, bro, like it's all about how like Chinese parents want him to be a doctor, and then in like I think he's like more like an anecdotic kind of type of comedy, like oh I once was with my dad, I once was with my mom, I once was with whatever, and it's funny how like and I think this is true. I don't want to like put people on the same boat, I guess, but like he was saying like how like his parents wanted him to be a doctor, but not because of for the fact that he would be helping people, just because of the prestige and the and the money. It's like what helping people? Fuck that, fuck helping people. You have to be, you have to be a doctor.
He says that.
He's that, yeah, dad, I want to be a doctor because I want to help people. No, 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 no. You're not going to be a doctor. You're not helping people. You're going to make money. You're going to be...
You're going to give this family a good name.
So we can have a second kid. It's like shit like that. It's like... It's crazy. But then you have people that this other guy, he's from South Africa, but he's Afro-American, black. He's black. Whatever, and then he's about the UK people, because this is in London, right? So he's like, oh, people think that people are being mean to you and blah blah blah, and you British are so whiny and blah blah. You complain too much, and it's like, bro, I'm from South Africa. I know what I know what it means to be to be mistreated or whatever. But the way he says it. It's just funny because in some way I think the thing that I like about stand-up comedy the most is that you can talk about serious matters in a way that not everyone would get offended, because nowadays everyone gets offended. But like if it has gotten to a point where you have, once again, Louis C.K. talking about pedophiles, and then that's to some point it's acceptable. I mean, I watched it and I say, whoa, I cannot believe that this guy went there on Saturday Night Live.
I'm gonna watch it now, but I haven't watched it.
Oh, bro, you have to. And it's like an 8-minute video, and at the end he's like, I don't want to spoil it for you, but he is actually like the best video I have seen from Louis C.K. And then he talks about. I'm not sure if you have seen this. Does Jusandapus sound familiar? He's like he talks about how he has his daughter in the kindergarten or whatever, and then he has this kid that is like a piece of shit kid, and then he names it Jusandapus. Like he chokes the kid because he wanted to like push his daughter or whatever. It's like, I'm gonna fuck you up and I'm gonna fuck your mother and never call her. It's like, man, But at some point, someone like. I have a daughter. I'm not gonna, say that shit to a kid, but I will definitely think about it. You know what I mean? It's like,
I think,
and people think about it.
I think part of the thing is with, even when you talk about Louis C.K., who says things that people find to be terrible, it's like, that's the thing, like sometimes I'm on the podcast, right? Like I'm editing and I find things that I'm saying sometimes, and I'm just like wow, man, like some things I'm like, if people take some shit seriously, like then they're gonna think I'm a piece of shit, right? Like it's gotta be known when you're trying to be funny that that's what you're trying to be, And part of that is saying some horrible shit at a time, and you might fail, and that's something that you gotta take the hit. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like Louis C.K. is not gonna go hit that kid, right? But
exactly,
isn't it good that we vicariously can live through him that feeling that we do feel if you with your daughter, right, you see some kid being shitty and you're like, what, I want to break your teeth, kid, and like it's not even good to say. You wouldn't even say it to your wife, because then she might think like, yo, is my husband going crazy and gonna kill us one day, but you still think it, right? So you want someone to say it so you can fucking laugh and be like, yeah, these evil thoughts are okay sometimes.
Yeah. So it makes you realize that you're not the only one think about, that type of shit,
Yeah, man. Like you sent me a post the other day about like when you're holding a baby, and like you're thinking, what if I drop it? And then your mind is like, no, of course you will never drop it. Yeah, but what if I do? And it's like,
Yeah.
I have that feeling all the time when like I'm waiting for the metro, and it's like, what if I jump on this bitch? And it's like, yeah, but I mean, of course you're not gonna do it. Yeah, but what if I just fucking jump on this bitch? And it's like, dude, that type of shit is just funny because, yeah, you think it, and I think many people think it, but it's the fact that you don't act upon them. And the funny shit is that when you say it on a comedy show, if you say it right and you prepare it correctly, it not only makes it a joke, but it also makes it funnier because it is using things that you knew within you that you didn't know anybody else knew.
Exactly. Which, in fact, everyone, it's like experiences.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And that's what makes like, oh really? We were all sometimes thinking about murdering that kid that fucks with my daughter at school. Okay, let's laugh.
Exactly.
You can laugh. It's like that, you know.
Yeah, it's true. It's true though. It's true. And that's what I find interesting about comedy. Like, you know, it's just a way of venting, I guess, through someone else. Because, like, you know, if you're feeling down, whatever, for whatever fucking reason, so you're just going through a breakup phase, whatever. Then you find some, you know, stand-up comedy about breakups, and then some people just, you know, keep talking, you know, shit that you have gone through, and then you kind of look at it, you know, differently now. And I guess that, you know, it's some sort of release for you, I guess, that, you know, that makes you feel like, okay, I'm not in the same,
yeah,
you know, I'm not the only person that has gone through this shit. And then, you know, even like I could go on, man. Even like just breakups, once again, pedophiles, rapists, people getting kidnapped. I mean, they're like this comedy for everyone, or about everyone, I guess.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I think it's a great art form. I think I'm gonna keep watching. You know, I'm waiting for the next ones to come out. If you have a chance, watch the new SNL monologue by Bill Burr, who's a comedian as well.
Oh yeah.
And he just took one out that's like super, like some people are freaking out, some people aren't, but he attacks and he's super funny. But I'm definitely gonna watch that one with Louis C.K. And well, thanks for joining us today, Luis. I think it's been a super fun talk about series, movies. I hope people understand it's all in good heart. But you know, we wanted to say our opinions on this. So thanks a lot for joining us today, Luis. It's been fucking great, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I hope I'll be joining soon.
Hell yeah. We're gonna have Luis help us out with some topics as well on the Broskiedoodles. And thank you all for watching and for continuing to tune in into the Broskiedoodles in the build. Peace out, guys.
Peace.